There are many new buildings going up in San Diego as we see them in many, many cities across this nation. But these buildings are not factories to employ the hard-working masses of the people. These buildings will employ those in management and highly technical jobs, which many of our people are not prepared at this point to handle. Factories are moving out of the cities. Factories are moving into the suburbs. Factories are moving out of America into third world nations so that the American corporate giants may work the poor of the world for less wages and yet charge more for the finished product on the market. So an expanding city that does not expand the base to support the people who have hope in the city or in the county or in the state will find a community that will begin to feed on itself. And as a result, crime will increase, as crime has increased in San Diego. There are more homicides, more rape, more assault, a small decline in burglaries. But crime is on the increase, and murder of us, by us, is on the increase. San Diego is not becoming a more tolerant city of its racial diversity. San Diego seems to be becoming a less tolerant city of its racial diversity. The fact that Martin Luther King Jr. Way has now been revoted back to Market Street says something. If white people in San Diego cannot tolerate a street named after a black person who not only did good for black people, but he did more good for America than many, if not most, American presidents. Why do I say that? A nation's greatness is not measured by fine roads, great transportation, great communication, lofty buildings, tremendous infrastructure. This is not the measure of the greatness of a city or the greatness of a nation. The greatness of a nation is measured by its duty to God and its duty to the poor and the weak in that society. Martin Luther King tried to make America a more just society. And any time a man will live and die to make a country more just, that man, more than Reagan, more than Bush, more than Roosevelt, more than Hoover, that man is trying to preserve the nation. Because when a nation's evil begins to outweigh its good, another force begins to work. Because this universe does not tolerate an unjust nation, society, or world. So when our personal evil outweighs our good, or a city's evil outweighs its good, or a nation's evil outweighs its good, or a world's evil outweighs its good, then there is a law in the universe that begins to work to remove that individual, that city, that nation, and that world from existence. We have had on this earth, according to the teachings of the Holy Quran and the Bible, many great civilizations before this one. And there were civilizations that superseded this one in lofty buildings and great technological advancement, but they are not here now. Where are they? What happened to them? They fell because they failed in their duty to the Creator who allows the rise and the fall of nations. So when you have a man like Martin Luther King Jr. and the many others who fought to make America a more just society, and you cannot recognize the value of that man, his blackness seems to overpower his goodness. His blackness seems to overpower his strength as a moral teacher, so that you cannot even tolerate his name on a major thoroughfare, but you will vote to have his name taken down, to return it to a common old market street. Then that says to me that if you can't tolerate Dr. King in San Diego, you can't tolerate Dr. King's people. You can't tolerate progress of the Mexicano or Chicano community. You can't tolerate black progress. That means race relations in San Diego are not getting better. Race relations are getting worse, and they're not getting worse because Farrakhan is a bigot, a racist, or an anti-Semite, or a hater. I didn't teach the people who voted for Market Street over Martin Luther King Jr. way. I didn't teach black people to hate themselves. That was done by a master teacher of hate. I didn't teach black people to slaughter themselves on the streets of America. That was done by one who is a master teacher of hate. And I would not waste my time trying to get a black person to dislike or hate a white person. I think white people are doing that job very good themselves. I'm going to spend my time trying to get black people to fall in love with themselves. And after loving ourselves, I'm going to spend my time breaking down the artificial barriers that keep us divided one from another, so that we can, as a community, become a powerful community. A community that does not have to crawl on our knees to beg government or white people to change toward us, but a community that will change toward itself and then bring about change in the environment and bring about a change in the conditions under which we live. A strong black community